So I'm here today with one of my students. Her name is Galit Breen, and she is in my Fab Facebook Groups program. So Galit, why don't you introduce yourself, tell us about who you are and what you do.
Okay, so my name is Galit Breen, and my business, my blog are at theselittle.waves.net, and I help parents and educators teach kids how to be online.
And I think that's so important. I know I have a 4.5-year-old, and even she loves to, like, if I'm on Snapchat or something, she loves to pop over and look at the filters or whatever. And so I know that, kids earlier and earlier are exposed to more social media. And so I love your approach of really educating parents about
Um,
how to talk to their kids about it instead of making it this like forbidden fruit kind of thing.
exactly, because then it just makes it so hard on everybody. And I remember you and I talking about the Snapchat piece, and I just thought it was so smart because you're not like hiding it from her. You're not like, no, no, it's so bad. You're just showing her what you're doing. So it's
Yeah,
when you are ready to talk to her about stuff, she's just gonna be ready.
yeah,
So love
exactly.
that.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us, why did you buy Fab Facebook groups?
Okay, so my business is less than half a year old. So I'm just kind of getting started here. And when I first started, I invested in a couple of self-paced courses, and they were great. They were effective, but like kind of in a slow and chuggy kind of way, not because of the course, but because I had to still learn it and I still had to figure it out. And I didn't have anyone to kind of hold my hand through it. So I kind of realized that I had two choices. I could kind of keep going that route, which was like 24/7 in my business, or I could let you hold my hand and teach me how to get everything going a little faster. And so I just kind of made that decision that I needed that help and I was ready. And that's why I decided to take it.
Now, why was it? Why was starting a Facebook group important to you?
So that's a great question. Okay, because I'm going to be completely honest here. It wasn't even on my radar to start a
Oh,
Facebook group until you. I'm someone who used to like love Facebook. I spent a ton of time building my community on my personal page without building a blogging page. And then once I was freelance writing and trying to run a business, I suddenly found I had no reach. Like I couldn't reach my audience, and so I hate to say, but I kind of gave up on Facebook. I kind of thought, well, this isn't where my people are. But then the more, I'm sure everybody who's watching this has heard this a million times. Where are your people? Where are they hanging out? Figure that out. Well, I'm talking to parents and educators. Guess where they are? They're
yeah,
all on Facebook. And I realized that the problem wasn't that Facebook wasn't the problem. It was that I didn't know how to utilize Facebook. And so that's why I was like, well, I suppose I need some help here. so,
yeah. No, that's great. That's really important. A lot of times, we get frustrated with our business Facebook pages because they just don't have the organic reach that a Facebook group has. So, tell me a little bit about your hesitations to purchase Fab Facebook groups.
I thought about this a little bit. I had two big ones. The first one I kind of mentioned a little bit. I was kind of not over Facebook, but maybe like disengaged with it. Like my people aren't there. I don't know how to find them. I'm going to go ahead and let that go. So that was the first one. And I was like, ooh, am I really going to go back there? Like, and try to dive into this again. So that was the first one. And then the second one was just monetary. This was the most expensive course that I have bought so far. And I just had to think about it. I just had to kind of really think like, am I going to do this? Am I ready to dive in? Do I have the finances to make this work? Do you want me to come back to why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some of your concerns were that you were kind of a self-proclaimed maybe course junkie.
Maybe.
And we definitely have a few of those in there. I know I have definitely fallen into that category at times where we are so thirsty to learn.
Mhm.
And so we purchase a bunch of programs, and especially, with a self-paced program, you don't really get that kind of support that you need in order to move through it. And I totally hear you on the cost. Spending and making an investment in your business at any time
Mhm.
is always stressful. So how did you move through that? If you were worried about whether or not you would get the help you needed, and you were worried that it was the most expensive course that you had purchased until that moment.
Mhm.
What, like, how did you move through that?
So there were a couple of things I kind of wanted to add on a little bit to it. Like, yes,
Okay.
of course, junkie, that's a terrible word, but yes, that's probably true. But like, but I think, but I think the problem is too, because remember, I'm so new, right? Less than 6 months. I don't have a business background. I used to be a teacher, and then I've been a writer for 10 years. So it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know. But I wanted to invest in the right thing. And that was the other piece. Like, is this like, I'm not opposed to spending money in my business. I know that it's important, but is this the right choice for me? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. So everything that I read was like, find your person. Like, who are you trying to serve? Can you picture their avatar? Do you know what problem that you're trying to solve for them? Every single blog post on business says to figure that out first, right? And then I thought, I kind of know parents and teachers, but how vague is that? Every parent, every teacher needs my course? Probably not, but then I suddenly realized, well, if my people are on Facebook and you're going to teach me how to figure out how to find them and how to talk to them, well, yeah, I'll go ahead and that probably sounds like the right investment for me. And it sounded to me like maybe the first step, like maybe some of the things that I had invested in, maybe the reason they were chugging along again, because it wasn't the courses, they weren't the problem.
Mm-hmm.
It was maybe I wasn't ready yet. Maybe first I needed to do this. And so that's kind of what helped me there. And then the money piece, like, I'll be honest with you, like, yes, it's a big investment and it was the biggest that I had done to date, but like, I mean, running a business, right? We can't.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna happen. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, Starbucks isn't like, well, we can't spend money on that. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
totally.
we have to do that. The other piece is that one-on-one support. You can't really beat that. I mean, someone who's willing to come in there and be like, this is what has worked for me. Give it a try and see how it works. And then, oh, it didn't work. Let me tell you why. I mean, there's so I figured like I could keep kind of trying to chug along by myself, or I could take the help. And so I was ready for the help.
Yeah, that's one of my my favorite parts of doing a 30-day open and closed course is that I really get to get in there because, like you, I have a background in teaching. I was a public school teacher for 8 years. And so that's the part that I love, and that's where the transformation happens. Because,
Absolutely.
there's only so much that you can learn and implement in a self-paced course. And it was
because there's no feedback. Because I mean, even as you're trying it like out, as we would try it out, you would come in and you would let us know not just if something was working, but why it was working or not working. And that's what makes the difference. And so it's kind of, I wouldn't say I was at a plateau. I was just at a very slow monetary growth. And if I wanted to make that push, I just needed help. Because I don't have a degree in business. I don't have that. I just needed some help. So
yeah, totally. Now, were there any specific results from the course that you wanted to share?
I definitely want to do that. So I know that this is going to sound insane and people probably might not even believe me, but I will say, like, literally, like, I had results within 24 hours. So my group is like only 2 weeks old, less than 2 weeks old, right? Because I had nothing. It's not like I was building something I already had. Mm-hmm. So first of all, I only started off with a small amount of people. And since then, every single day, my group is growing. And not only that, but my list is growing, right? Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, even my husband's like, what else is she selling? Are you buy anything else from her? I had someone buy my course purely from the group. Like, they were not on my list before. We were not connected in any other way. But they found me via the group. They joined my list and they bought my course. I mean, I don't know if there's any better result than that as someone in business, right?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think that one of the reasons why a Facebook group converts so well is because you really have that opportunity to interact. It's not just like email where you're pushing an email. It's like you're in there doing live streams, keeping up that high level of interaction with your members.
Eavesdropping. I mean, that's the other piece. Like, you can listen to people talk to each other. And so when they say, like, what is your person's biggest problem that you're going to solve? Well, not only are they telling you, but they're talking about it with each other. And you probably know this too as a former teacher. Sometimes the way they talk to each other is different than the way they talk to you.
Oh,
and so
absolutely.
that eavesdropping is huge.
Yeah. I mean, when you send out an email and say, tell me what your biggest struggle is, people are going to say one thing because they know they're talking to you. But once they're in the group talking to each other, a lot of times they'll be more honest. And
Absolutely.
You get to, since you are the expert, you get to see what their real problem is. Because they may think their problem is this, but actually their problem is this. And once this is taken care of, then this will just fall away.
which is why it's so hard for them to respond, I think, via email. And I still ask that
Oh
via
yeah, me
email.
too.
I mean, I do, but I mean, it's just a different kind of
Hmm.
conversation and answer that you get and way that you can help because I'm like, oh, I know exactly where you're coming from. I completely understand that now.
Yeah, totally. So tell me a little bit about where you were in your business before Fab Facebook groups and where you are now.
Okay, so you can probably explain this a lot better than I can, but I would say that I was like 100% 24/7 working in my business. So being so young and being, it's not me being young, but the business being so young and so new, there every single detail was up to me. And so I was just constantly doing all the little details, all the little things. And then I was testing a ton of things and maybe some of them were I didn't necessarily know which ones. And so taking one aspect of it and just focusing in on it for 30 days, that's really all I changed about my business was that I could really see what worked and what didn't. And so I was able to step back and test, actually see what was working and continue doing what was working because, I mean, right?
Yeah.
That's what we want to do. So it's just, I feel so much just like warmer about my business rather than like, oh, sure hope that works, you know?
Totally, absolutely. Um, and so you talked a little bit about how, okay, wait, sorry, let me get my bearings. Oh, so you talked a little bit about how you were sort of struggling to really um, get connected with your community. So tell me how Facebook groups, Fab Facebook groups, helped you do that.
So it gave me my community, right? I mean, it kind of like, here they are. I talk to them. I mean, that's really what it did. It created the space, the conversation, the chance to listen, the chance to help, truly help. And I think like from my topic is so important to me and I'm so passionate about it. Like I'm sure everyone is about their topic. I felt like, oh, I can actually help you right now, right here,
Mhm.
because I know what you need because I didn't know before, but now I do. So it just gives you your community. I mean, that's what it does. It hands you your customers. Like,
Yeah, and your group is growing so fast because just like Galit said earlier, she had no group when she started this course. She had zero group, and now she has a thriving group. She's in there doing live streams. Right now, I think you're almost at 100 members. I mean, it's
I think we're
amazing.
over. I think we're over, which is, I mean, I know that comparatively that probably sounds small, but here's another thing that you taught me is what to measure.
Mhm.
And they are thriving because they're interacting and they're learning and they're asking questions and I'm thriving because I'm learning and making sales. I mean, really,
Yeah,
I don't know. There's nothing else I need to measure really right now.
yeah, totally. Well, is there anything else if, oh, this is another question. Let's see. So if anyone, let me see. Oh, so what would you say to someone who was maybe on the fence about whether or not Fab Facebook groups was the right investment for them? What would you tell them?
So here's what I will tell you what I did. So I had to sit down and think, where do I want to be in 30 days from now? Do I want to keep chugging along like I have been, which was fine because it was summer and my kids were home. I could have kept chugging, that's fine, you know. Or I could start off the school year with a bang and actually have some knowledge under my belt from an expert who could show me exactly what to do, have my community in place. And then this is really important. And we didn't touch base on this, and you can take this out whatever if someone else already has touched base on it, but like you also find your tribe and like people talk about finding your people and how important that is. It's not actually that easy.
Hmm.
It's not that easy because we're all at different places and we're all doing these self-paced courses and we're all busy in
Yes.
our own businesses. And then all of a sudden you have this community of people who are learning the same thing as you and are committed to
Yeah.
learning the same thing as you at the same time. So you get your tribe, you get your community, and you really get an understanding of who you're serving. I don't know if there's more of a foundation than
Yeah.
that for your
Well,
business.
and I love the way that everyone in the course group really supports each other. So if someone's about to go live for the
Mhm.
first time, they'll type it into the group so that another course member can go inside their group and kind of comment and give that piece of support because it is so awkward and scary when you
It's
go live for
hard.
the first time and you know it's just crickets, right? Like maybe you have a really
Absolutely.
small group and so no one's really watching you, but you just keep
Absolutely.
going with it. And so just having even just one person in
Mhm.
there, kind of typing into the chat box with little comments of support, oh, that's a great point. Oh, that's a good idea. It really, really helps.
I think the other thing too is it's important to note is that we're all in different niches,
Yes.
and yet we can all support each other. Because
Mhm.
I know, at least for me, I'm B2C, like business to cut. So
Yeah.
like that's very different than people who are trying to sell courses to other people who are trying, to
Right.
sell. That's very, very different. And yet I have found my community in there because I can
Yeah.
still learn from it, what everybody else is doing. We can support each other, and we do. And I think that, like, oftentimes I'm sure everyone's read like there are more people like you out there. You just have to find them. Well, you're going to find them because you're interested in the same thing and growing the same thing. That's the commonality that you have, and that's why you'll support each other so well. And I think that there's just really nothing like finding those like-minded people who will help you, who just want to be there to
And
help you.
you never know. I mean, one of those people might turn into a potential JV webinar affiliate, like if they have an audience that is lots of parents, that's, a partnership that you could move forward with. So,
That you
yeah.
would have never known, because at least for me, I mean, when I go into other groups where there's other business people,
Mhm.
I'm not necessarily looking for JV partnerships.
Right.
However, that might be short-sighted, and I might not know that in a big group that's really bustling, that's going on. But this is a tight-knit group of people
Yeah.
working on the same thing. Yes, I'm going to get to know their business really well, and I'm going to find that much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't say enough good things.
Oh,
I
thank you
really
so
can't.
much.
Yeah. No.
All right, Galit. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today. Do you have any last words?
I think just get in there. We're in there. We're ready to support you. This is, it's so fun it'll be so fun to see the next group come in and see what they come up with and what they do.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see like which niches join. I know right now we also have a party planner in the group, and I'm in her Facebook group, and she has all these really cool party planning ideas.
No, it makes me want to throw a party.
I know, me too. Me too. Okay, Galit. Well, thank you so much. And hopefully, if you're watching, you'll be able to hang out with Galit in our course Facebook group. See you soon.
Either.